Hello, 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 everybody. Good evening, Sahuarita, Arizona. This is Don Woolley for the Sahuarita Tea Party Weekly Update, and we're back on the air tonight. Got everything running tip-top, and I have a special treat for you tonight. We have a special guest. Christine Bauserman is going to be on the show at about 5:15, and she's, I'll just describe her as a big Arizona activist, and we'll get into a little bit more about her bio when she comes on. And I want to show you this. This is interesting. This is the Electoral Map. This is created by a guy named Kevin McCullough. Kevin McCullough is, in 2016, he started putting out maps just before the election of Donald Trump, and he ended up, and here's what he says. He says, in 2016, I released a series of maps as to how I saw election night unfolding. On my last map, the week before the election, I predicted real Donald Trump would win 30 states and Hillary Clinton would pick up 20. Trump got 30.5 and Hillary 19.5. So he was pretty close. But this I'm showing you right here is his first map of 2020. And he's got Trump with 330 electoral votes and Biden with 208. And so there you go. That's his first cut of the 2020 election. That ought to buoy your spirits a little bit tonight. And don't let the fake news media get you down, folks. Happy to be with you tonight, and we're going to have a really good guest tonight. Christine is knowledgeable of state and national politics. She has worked in the Trump administration when he first took after he took the oath in early 2017. She worked back in Washington D.C. in 2017, and she can talk a little bit about that tonight. And but what we want to really get into is state politics, how she feels about some of the different LDs that. And are we going to hold the House and the Senate in the state legislature, and how her view of national politics, and because she knows about the deep state. She was back there and experienced it, so it's a real thing, and I know she's anxious to tell you about it. So. A couple other things I want to talk about tonight. First, I want to talk about Props 207 and 208. And if you got this book in the mail, What's on My Ballot, you should have all got this in the mail. Got a lot of good information, candidates, judges, propositions. It's worth the read, okay, before you vote, and check into that. But What's on My Ballot, you should have got that in the mail. If you're a registered voter, you would have got that in the mail. One of the interesting things I noted was Prop 207. Prop 207 doesn't have a lot of fours, arguments for Prop 207, the legalizing marijuana in Arizona, which is a bad idea. And if you go look up the history of California and Colorado, you'll find out that it's a terrible idea. It's bringing in less than half the money they predicted it would bring in. They've got a lot of black market and more crime than they had before. And it's just pretty much out of control. And you're subjecting your school-age kids, your kids that are up to 18, 19 years old, going to be in real trouble with this stuff. So, our advice is vote against 207. But one of the things I noticed, there's only a few arguments for it, okay? And it's described as this Smart and Safe Act, right? I love the name of it, Smart and Safe Arizona Act. You talk about misleading, that's about it. Smart and safe, about legalizing marijuana. And anyway, there are a few pages of fours, maybe 2, 4, 6 pages of people that are for it. And I counted from page 84 to page 126, okay, which is 16 and 26, or 16 16 and 26 is 42 pages. 42 pages of no's against Proposition 207. 42 pages. And a lot of people telling you, don't do this. Do not vote for 207. It's misleading. It's not what we want to do in Arizona. It's a terrible idea. It hasn't gone well in Colorado or in California. The liberals say it has, but it really hasn't. And it's a nightmare for the police departments. And it's only bringing in less than half the money they predicted it would bring in to try to convince people to vote for it. So vote against 207. Of course, the other proposition is 208. 208 is the tax against the rich. Okay, we're going after the rich again. Well, the rich in this case, and this is called the Additional Support for Public Education. Okay, Invest in Education Act. This is really a tax against small business. And guess who the people that are in the most trouble right now in the pandemic are who? Yeah, the small business people. They are having the most difficult time because, well, for number one, Governor Ducey, you don't know whether you can be open or not, and Pima County is a disaster for business. I just heard today they shut down some coffee shop, took away their business license because they violated their whatever the rules they have, their COVID, their mask rules, or whatever else they're doing in Pima County. The Board of Supervisors in Huckleberry, those people are nuts. And so, small business is going to pay this money. They can't afford another tax. They're struggling as it is. The president's trying to negotiate some new money for businesses and people to help with the pandemic. Although I keep telling and I keep tweeting that Pelosi has never negotiated in good faith. They want what they want, and they haven't moved a bit. They want to bail out Democratic cities and their pension plans, and they want to do away with voter ID and you name it. It has nothing to do with the pandemic. Okay, so the president's trying to get money for people, but these businesses they can't afford a new tax. Okay, they just can't. So it's not a tax against the rich. It's a tax against small business. And most businesses in this country are small business. Most businesses in Arizona are small business. So vote against 207. No on 207. No on 208. Okay? No on 207. No on 208. So that's kind of our little political input for tonight on the election, and then we'll have more on candidates later on in the month. But certainly, many of you may have watched the debate last night between McSally and Mark Kelly, and for all intents and purposes, everything that I read today, everything on Twitter, every analysis says that McSally came out on top of Kelly. She exposed him about China. Calling him counterfeit Kelly was really good because that's going to stick now in the public's eye. And the thing that we really aggravated about it when he lied about not shaking Art Del Cueto's hand. If you remember, Art Del Cueto was at our Lincoln Reagan luncheon, was one of the speakers, and when Art tells you something, you know it's true. And he's the one that Mark Kelly refused to shake his hand. And he told about it. He told Garrett Lewis about it on KNST 790. So, true story. And Mark Kelly denied that happened. So, there he goes. He's really turned into somebody that I wouldn't want to be, and, see you want to be it. So, we've got to get McSally in there. And you got to vote for Martha. Whether you like her or not, it doesn't matter. You can't vote for Mark Kelly, and you can't sit out the vote. You got to vote. So that's my advice on the Senate race in Arizona. So anyway, I'm going to take a break now. It's I've got the time as 5:05, I'm going to take a short break. I'm going to come back on and turn on Zoom, and we'll hook up with Christine, and we'll get going with her. So stand by. We'll be right back. Okay, hello everybody. We're back, and we're on Zoom, and we're waiting for Christine Bauserman to connect. So when she hooks up, we'll be cooking. So anyway, we hope you're all doing well tonight. There's lots going on. Right after we finish tonight is the Vice President Pence will be debating Kamala Harris. That'll really be interesting. She, when she was running for the presidential, in the primary, running for the president, Democratic candidate, she dropped down to 1%, and then she dropped out. So I'm not sure why they made her the VP candidate, but you'd have to ask Biden about that. Although I got a secret for you. It wasn't Joe Biden that picked Kamala Harris, and he probably can't remember who he picked anyway, or who they picked for him. So anyway, we're waiting for Christine to come on now, and she ought to be on any minute. I told her I'd turn on Zoom between 5:05 and 5:10. So we'll be cooking here in a minute. Anyway, the VP debate is tonight, and Christine has entered the waiting room, so we're going to let her in. And if you can hear me, Christine, you'll have to unmute yourself. A little speaker on your screen, just click on it, and that'll unmute you. And don't have any video right now. So if you're with us, we're standing by. And anyway, I was talking about the VP debate tonight between Vice President Pence and Kamala Harris, which some people think is going to be interesting. I'm not sure it will be. Okay, so now we've got, looks like Christine's going to try to get on with her iPhone.
I am muted. I'm going to try to change my background. How do you change your background? There's usually three little...
I can't see you, but I can hear you, Christine.
Hi, Don.
Hi. Can't hear you, though. I mean, I can hear you, but I can't see you. So you have to go up to the little wheel up there in the corner of your Zoom main page, and that's or you can go click down there on your video at the bottom of the screen, and that has your different
Right, I got that. How do you change the background though? You used to...
Well, I have a green screen, so that's why you see me in front of these beautiful palm trees and the sunset. This is my fake California screen.
All right, how many people are on?
Just you and me. On YouTube, I don't know. I haven't got a count yet. So, but we're live on YouTube right now. So
okay.
So I also have iPhone for Cleo. Is that you? Hello.
That's not me, Christine.
Okay. I don't know
No.
who is Cleo. Is Cleo there? I don't know who that is. Whoever Cleo is, would you please hang up and get off the channel? Thank you. Anyway, Christine.
It might be. I've invited some people to come, so it might be.
Oh, well, that's okay. If it's somebody you invited, that's fine. But they can watch it on YouTube. They don't need to be on Zoom.
Okay.
So if they go to YouTube and search for Don Woolley, find the channel, and they'll see live. They'll see the little live button, and they'll be able to see it. So we got to find some way to get your picture up here. Oh, there it is.
I took away the piece of tape. Hi.
Christine had her camera taped up, folks. How about that?
Yeah. How are you doing?
That doesn't. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good. I'm used to doing this with Zoom and being able to replace some backgrounds. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I got it. Hold on. I'm going to fix my background.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, dear.
Okay.
I was telling people I was kidding about there we go. Oh, yeah, Trump Pence. That's good. Perfect. So I was kidding people about the VP debate tonight. I think it's going to be I don't think it's even going to be a contest, honestly. I don't know what Kamala Harris is going to do, but Mike Pence will have no trouble debating Kamala Harris. So I know it comes on at 6 after we're done. So what do you think about it, Christine?
I completely disagree. I think everybody's going to be blown away tomorrow. I think everyone's going to do the same thing they did with Trump and the same thing as McSally last night.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a debate. They're not going to let him put forth. It's not about policies. It's not about finding what we want to do. It's about attacking him. So she's a prosecutor. He's a witness and he's on the stand and she's going to go after him for being a Trump person.
Yeah.
And it really solidified last night seeing McSally. Even though McSally might have made some mistakes, she gave her pet answers, her canned answers, but she wasn't ready for the pounding that you want to answer the question, you want to answer the question, you want to answer the question. And they didn't do that to the astronaut, right?
Well, actually, they did. They asked him several. They asked Mark Kelly several times about not answering questions, and he just kept giving his canned answers. So.
Well, but they didn't ask him, do you support the protesters, the rioters?
No, of course not.
Cause him problems, and they did with her. Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
And they're not going to let it go. And this woman is remember how she was? We kind of liked her in the primary debates, right?
Mm-hmm.
She is a prosecutor. She is exactly what Trump being trained by Giuliani and Chris Christie the last time is probably what you would need tonight against her. But he's going to go in there wanting to be soft, and she's going to attack him. The moderator, I think, is going to attack him.
I'm sure
I think it's very different. We're at a war. It is not a debate, and nobody cares about issues, right?
Yeah, I have no doubt the moderator's going to attack him. That's for sure. But my point about Kamala Harris was, when she was in the presidential or primary, right? She started out kind of good, and then she dropped like Trump said, and then she got down to 1% and she dropped out. So I don't know the Democrats are in love with Kamala Harris. They might hate Trump, but Kamala Harris isn't the star.
Well, she was to bring the Bernie Sanders people in. She was to bring the socialist side in, right?
Yeah, right.
So he's got the McCainite, the moderates, and she was to bring that side in. So I think it should hurt him, but
I want to ask you about, I didn't want to dwell on the VP stuff too much. I want to ask you about Arizona, and are we going to keep the House and the Senate, especially the House? There's some concerns about the House of Representatives, the State House. How do you feel about that, and where are we in trouble if we're in trouble?
Well, we have a 1-seat majority in the House,
right.
And so that's going to be really hard to keep with their effort that they have in the House. And I've talked to other people about this before. There's an Arizona 1, AZONE. You can go Google it. It's their 10-year plan that they have been implementing since when we met.
Mm-hmm.
It happened after redistricting. They went against us one by one. They've divided us. We are ground zero for the split in the party. They have a concentrated effort going on in 3 or 4 of the LDs, but the one that surprised me in the primary was LD 11. So nobody in Maricopa County, if you get the messages and the updates from Kelly Ward, mm-hmm. She'll list the ones up in Maricopa County, but no one's looking at Pima County. Oro Valley was always considered, especially the LD 11 portion of that, very, very much a lock-in. I was actually surprised in 2016 when I was looking at the numbers, how weak the numbers were. And in 2018, I mean, that used to be like a 30-40% Republican. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden the votes haven't been as high. So in the primary, Fincham had the most votes, Representative Fincham. The Democrat had the second number, and the elected incumbent Republican was third. So they're single-shotting the Democrat.
Right.
I think they have a machine up there with voter registration and turnout, and we better get on the ball. There's a reason they asked for an extension for 23 days, and it's to get more registered voters. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be, we have to work. We have to work hard. We have to, we have really good candidates in LD 10. We have a candidate in LD 9. We've won Republican in those areas before. So, we have to see. But no, there's a very good chance that the House
Are there two House
which
candidates?
is really bad.
Two House candidates in LD11? Is Fincham running with somebody else? Who's the other
Yes,
House?
the two sitting incumbents,
Yeah,
Roberts,
Roberts.
Representative Roberts. They're
Right.
both incumbents.
And Vince Leach is the senator.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the district I thought you were talking about. So yeah, Leach and Fincham aren't in any kind of problem though.
Well, I've seen some flyers that they're putting out against Leach that are just outrageous. They're calling him a radical terrorist, extremist, and and that's all they have to do nowadays,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
That district, I think they're looking at a couple things there. I'm worried about all of Pima County. Actually, I'm worried about Steve Christie and I'm worried about Steve Spain.
Yeah.
I take nothing for granted just because of the ground game they have and what they're doing. Like everybody thinks, oh, they're quiet. Well, they're quiet. Dangerous people are always very quiet, right? And they're out there just registering voters. If you look at the percent increases in the Board of Supervisors, District 1, which is Steve Spain, Allie Miller's seat, they had a 67% increase in the amount of Democrat registered to vote. And in D4, Steve Christie's district, there was a 67% increase. That's a really high increase. That somebody's out there working hard. And the Republicans were only like a 5% increase. They're going after never voted befores. So they're just convincing people who've never voted. There's most of the people don't vote. Yep. And so they're convincing them, hey, fill out this paper, get registered. And then they're coming back in and turning out the vote. Because why would people who've never voted before, and why did so many Democrats vote in the primary? There really isn't like Mark Kelly doesn't have anybody running against him, right?
Right.
I don't think Kirkpatrick didn't. Did Kirkpatrick have somebody running against her?
I don't remember. I think she.
No,
I don't think she did.
The Democrats had a kind of a primary. This is why primaries are good, because they make people go out and vote. But they had there was somebody in Pima County was running. That was kind of a hot race. So.
Anyway,
next question.
The numbers we saw down here, Christine, were they printed some statistics in our local paper, the Green Valley News and the Sahuarita Sun. And their total number for Pima County, the Democrats were up I think it was 34%. And Republicans' percentage was 33% or something like that. It went to
and where? All of Pima County?
All of Pima County, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm wondering how that jives with the different districts. I haven't seen a breakdown by districts, so I'm sure you're correct. But the overall in the state, Republicans are far outreaching Democrats in voter registration.
Yes. Tom Morrissey's wife, Chris Morrissey, really got on the ball with this and took the lead on it up in kind of the northwestern, the mountain area, we call it, where it's Tom Morrissey's now the mayor.
Right.
And then they Maricopa really worked hard and got a big effort, and they upped their registration. So the Republicans, the Democrats pulled ahead. We used to be Republicans and independents, then Democrats. Mm-hmm. And I think they got close for the one quarter, they were close or almost bypassing us, and we jumped back ahead. So again, Maricopa, Pima County, and that's why they ignore us down here, is we cannot win the state. We have not even 1 million people, and they got 6 million up there.
Yep.
But we can lose it, that's the word I keep using. And, but so statewide, yes, that's true. So that's why I think they're focusing on affecting the state by, focusing and getting a two or three for one. Get rid of, Allie Miller's seat, or get rid of, Steve Christie, lock in Pima County, lock in those districts. Here's another thing they did when I was looking when Steve Ronnebeck was running in CD3. Raul Grijalva always got around 38,000 votes. That's it. And the districts are almost 200,000 or over 224,000 apiece.
Right.
And he was, because of Gabby, running against him pretty hard. He got up to like 48,000 votes in 2014. And then all of a sudden in 2016, he got, or he was 58,000, he got 148,000 votes. Who gets 90,000 votes in 2 years? Especially when it's double.
Yeah.
Think about that, right? What's going on there?
Yeah.
And then if you looked at Christy Sinema's district, CD8, which Chris Schilling was looking at running. So I looked at those numbers, and so I looked at the same thing, and he got 50,000 more votes. So 90 and 50 is 140,000, right? And how many people voted for Doug Ducey and then voted for Christy Sinema? 180,000. Interesting.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just a lot of votes. So that shows you they can do that. They can get 90,000 more votes in 2 years.
Yeah.
So I see that as a test that went pretty well. And that's why it worries me, them asking for 23 more days.
Yeah, well, I guess the good news out of that is we can register voters too in the 23 days if we go to work and do it. So, you know,
that's right.
We have a lot of people we have a lot of conservative and Republicans or whatever you call yourself that they can register, and so we need to do the same thing. We just, we don't stop. If it gets overruled and they all get thrown out, well, too bad. But, we should do the same thing.
Well, the other thing is turnout and eyes on those ballots. I just read, it's called The Atlantic, had a big article about the upcoming election. And so you've been around just as long as, or longer than I have. And we had the big effort after Jesse Kelly with watching the ballots.
Yeah.
And I just read in 2018, there had been a court case actually on the RNC. Of course, they always go after us for, making people turn in their proper ballots. Right. So there was some kind of rule where you had to be a Republican official. And that's what I remember. You had to be a Republican official to be watching the ballots. Mm-hmm. And that's why we would go get training and watch the ballots. Right. And they said that was not, and I just read this like half an hour ago, that expired in 2018, and the judge said we don't need to extend it because they haven't done anything wrong. So I guess the line of theory goes, you did something wrong, so now we're going to put this ruling on you for 5 years, and now, well, you haven't done anything wrong in 5 years, so there's no more rule, which I can go for that because that means watch those ballots. And again, even in Raul's district, anywhere you go, watch the ballots. Anywhere there's a ballot, you can be in there watching that ballot. Yep. You have to figure out the rule if you have to be an official Republican or not, but anywhere there's a poll drop-off location, you can sit there and watch those ballots, have your camera ready, take pictures. If somebody comes up with over 3 or 5 ballots, that's illegal. Yep. Get their phone number, get their license plate. But more importantly, don't let them put them in the ballot box, because once they go in that ballot box, it's done. You can't go pull them out if you don't know, you don't sign your ballot. Mm-hmm. So you've got to be aggressive and you've got to stop it. You've got to go sit there and lay your body over that ballot box and go, you're not putting them in. What do I mean by ballot box? I mean the drop off ballot boxes. There's places now they're setting up where you can go take your ballot and drop it in a box.
Mm-hmm. At the early voting centers.
Not even early. I guess there's just drop-off boxes. Allie Miller sent me a thing that there was a big fight a couple of weeks ago at downtown at the Indian Reservation that is inside Tucson, which I would be horrible at pronouncing. Wyasqu. What is that? Yaska.
Paskayaki.
You know what that one is?
Right. Paskayaki.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
They voted to put a ballot drop off, and even Ann Rodriguez. Now, it's bad when Ann Rodriguez is arguing with them, right? She's like, I don't have anybody on the ballot, on the roster. Right. Why do you need a ballot box there? Well, why do you think they need one there? Yeah. Okay. So somebody should be there watching that. Yeah. I guess it would start today. They mailed out the ballots. Go sit. And everybody volunteer and watch it. There's a big effort going on. Lydia up in Phoenix, they're doing training right now to watch. Every place there is a ballot, there could be somebody watching it. If you see a ballot box and there's nobody watching it, stop and watch it. Or we should have a big hunt for the unwatched ballot boxes.
Yeah, we ought to give a reward out, right, for people that stop the nonsense, right?
Yeah.
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 Seriously.
Gives you a little Hall of Fame.
There you go. The Election Hall of Fame Anti-Ballot Harvesting Award.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
so,
And the places that are all Democrats are the places you want to watch,
oh yeah,
right?
that's right.
Because that's if they need an extra 90,000 votes, where am I going? I'm going to my host district because
Yeah,
he's going to make it easy for me.
that's right. Yeah.
So,
So let's talk a little bit about local Pima County, and what do you think once the election's over, if we can look ahead that far? And I know that's kind of scary because we're all focused on November 3rd, but and we want to reelect President Trump. But after it's over and reorganize the counties and the districts and everything, what do you think is going to happen in Pima County? Is Eppleheimer going to go on, or is somebody going to challenge him? What are you hearing?
I don't. I've asked that question. I do not think Eppleheimer said anything. If we lose even more than we've already lost under his leadership, then, I mean, if nobody runs against him who's valid, I can't see him staying especially if we lose anything. If we flip the state in
Yeah.
all of LD11 should slink off under some rock someplace. And, I mean, we can't lose Steve Christie because, it really is. I mean, the purpose of the party is not to campaign, not to strategize, it's to register voters and turn out the vote. Register voters and turn out the vote.
Exactly.
And that's what we have to do down here.
Yeah.
And we got to be able to keep Steve Christie. So, again, I think everybody's kind of waiting. Let's be the team. Let's not worry about that until after the election. And then we'll see how that falls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes when you're in places where there's not a lot you can do, it's, the next 2 years are going to become very, very important. You were talking about the state. Right now, we have 9 congressional districts.
Right.
And so we have what, 5 Democrats and 4 Republicans.
And we're going to have a 10th district next year.
David Swikart is in trouble. We might be 6, but we are getting 1 more for sure, potentially 2 more.
Right.
Actually, because of our rate of growth. And they just extended the census too, which was kind of a weird thing to do. Yeah. But redistricting will start immediately. It took last year an entire year to get those final seats.
Right.
So we will have new congressional districts, new legislative districts, and we are on top of it this time. And I do know that for sure.
We're hearing the same thing, that they're on top of it this time. So we're keeping our fingers crossed.
That was the one thing with all the people who out there who want to boo and hiss Robert Graham. The one good thing he did do was to be on top of this and on top of Governor Ducey. Governor Ducey has done a good job with appointing the correct people who are involved in that ungodly process of judges who appoint people who appoint people who appoint people. I think there's 3 steps to that, remember? And so we got good people in place, and hopefully we're going to get some really, really good maps. So even if you're gashing your teeth out, which you deserve to do if we lose everything, don't worry, we have 2 years. So, and that is why the restructuring of the party becomes very, very important. Because if there's one thing this whole process has taught everybody, being a PC is very, very important. If you're not an elected PC, you cannot be involved at this point of restructuring, which will happen for all the new PCs and people who are on there. Restructuring of the party means right after the election in November, in December, we do new leadership for the local legislative chairs and boards in Pima County. The counties get to do that. Then you pick your legislative people, and then we pick state committeemen who will go up to the state then, and they're elected for 2 years, and you have to be a PC, elected PC, and then they go up to the state in January and elect a new Kelly Ward, the new chairman.
Right.
Kelly Ward is waiting to announce also probably until after the election, right? If we lose, she might, leave, who knows what Kelly will do. But also in 2022, we have the Senate race again, because remember, this is this special election for John McCain's seat
Right.
because of his death.
Yep.
So his seat is up for re-election in 22. So no matter who wins that, it's up again. And Doug Ducey's seat for governor is up in 22. And then all these new congressional seats will be up.
And we're hearing that Kirsten Sinema is going to run for governor, and Doug Ducey is going to run for that Senate seat.
You know, I'm trying to verify that with Doug Ducey because I know he wants to be vice president with Pence in 2022. So I can't see him run for Senate and then doing that. Sinema, yeah, her original plan was to do Congress for it was supposed to be 3 terms and then run for governor. But now that she's a senator, you know, there's a lot of speculation about that. Will she just sit in this seat for 6 years and then run for president or vice president herself? Because that's up in what, 2024, which will be the presidential election. You know, we'll see. You never know with Christie Sinema. Governor is usually a sought after race, but if she ran for that, then she might have to wait. We'll see what her play is. You know,
Yep.
You never know with Christie Sinema.
So how do you feel about Mike Pence running for the president in 2022?
Oh, I think we can do better. I like Tom Cotton. I like this new Louisiana Senator Kennedy.
Yeah,
I think it'd be fun to have a Southerner named Kennedy running as a Republican.
he would drive him crazy. Yeah, we like him too.
Well, Tom Cotton is more.
Yeah. How about Kristi Noem?
Yeah, I don't know. That's so far off it right now, right?
She might not be ready yet, but that would be interesting. But yeah, we're not real excited. I just want to let you know we're not real excited about Mike Pence running for president. But I guess because we've been trumped, so we like the violent.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that line.
Yeah, we've been trumped.
I like that line.
And you know, we like the confrontation and the interruptions and the calling everybody out. We love it. We love all that about Trump. I mean, we really do. So, you know, some people,
too.
Yeah, some people still can't handle it. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Some people have never figured out where Donald Trump is coming from, but he just is who he is. And you guess.
Well, what we have to remember is they will fight. And that's what they did with Bush. I actually I heard James Carville on after Obama got elected the second time. And he said when Bush went out there with the bullhorn after 9/11, they ran an internal poll and he polled high in the 60%.
Yeah, right.
And he said they had an emergency meeting. They got in a room. They were like, we are done as a party if we don't destroy him. And they came up with, we're going to call him stupid. Yeah. And they called him stupid. Everybody thinks he's not stupid. They all call him stupid, right? And then you have Obama, Mr. Is a great speaker.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So now that's what they've done with Trump. We all hate Trump for his tweets. And you sit like I go, I don't hate it. Who hates it, right?
No.
So we've got to get him reelected, though. I'm worried about Trump in Arizona. I think Trump's going to be really, really close because of the voter registration numbers and the turnout numbers, and because we have the McCainites endorsing, endorsing.
Talk about stupid. There you go.
That's another thing we need to, the party, that's something we can run on. These people need to be kicked out of the party, and we can do it.
Yeah. They sure do. I heard they were going to censor Cindy McCain.
No, not censor her. Frank Antonori told me him and Bruce Ash, I think it was, kicked somebody out of the party one time, a board of supervisor. We can kick them out of the party. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
They need to be removed from the party. Anybody who endorses somebody after a sitting incumbent, we need to take charge. We need to clean up this tent, tidy the tent. No more big tent. Tent got too many donkeys in it, so need some more room.
Yeah, too many rhinos and donkeys. Yeah, you're right. So, so your feeling is that it's going to be close in Arizona for Trump?
Yes.
Do you know Larry Schweikert, Christine? Have you met Larry Schweikert?
Yes.
Yeah.
The book writer.
He thinks it's.
I love his books.
He thinks we had him speak at the Lincoln Luncheon this year. In February, before the pandemic hit, we were able to have one event. So Larry was there, and his subject was Ronald Reagan. But he's a good tweeter, and he tweets a lot about, and he follows voter registration very closely, and so we pick up some of his things. But he thinks that Trump's going to win Arizona. He doesn't think it's going to be real close, and he believes that he's going to drag McSally over the finish line, whether she wants to win or not. So that's kind of his feeling about it.
I think that's an old play. I think that's an old playbook.
Yeah.
I think that's the playbook. Someone can drag you across. I don't think that's Arizona anymore.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the parties are splitting, and I've been saying for 4 years now. There's no more Republican. There's no more Democrat. Obviously, we just said that, right? I mean, are they Republicans or are they not Republicans? You got the McCainites going for the Biden vote. You have the deplorable vote. That's the nationalist versus globalists versus economic nationalists.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people haven't, I mean, if that was true, well, and I guess Trump wasn't running in 2018, but come on, you had 180,000 people vote for Doug Ducey and vote for Christie Sinema.
Right. If
that doesn't explain it right there, I mean, that you think what those people are going to go vote for her this time? There's something people do candidate by candidate voting. It's even the Democrats do. Yeah. I mean, they showed that in the primary last time. I know when I was up with Ken Bennett, the Secretary of State, that was one of the biggest. The independents are very upset because they want to be able to cross over in the primary. They don't want to require a Democrat or Republican ballot.
Yeah.
They want to be able to pick back and forth because, of course, they are. They're independents. They want to be able to do whatever they want to do. They don't want to follow rules. So I just think that's an old playbook. And I think Trump, I am worried about Trump right now. I think that's all we cannot lose him in Arizona. And so everybody better be just out there getting people for him. We need that 1% to 3%. And it is not helpful that the McCain people are endorsing him. Have you seen the list of people? Did you see Bob Worsley?
Oh,
remember that name?
Yeah,
that was on my blacklist.
Yeah, that's a lot of. That's the
voted for Medicaid expansion.
That's kind of that's the breaks down between. There's two groups of Mormons, and there's kind of the Mormons that are anti-Trump and the Mormons that are for Trump, and Worsley's on the side of the. He's kind of put that together as his fellow anti-Trump.
Well, they're globalists. They want open borders.
Oh yeah, sure.
They want open borders. They want Obamacare. They want illegal immigration. They want. It's nothing to do with Mormon. It's to do with being a globalist.
Oh, I know that. No, that's true. But they just happen to be
America first.
Yeah, that's their little clique up there. Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah. So, well, I'm not. I don't know. I don't feel that's going to have a big impact on Trump. There are. You look at these rallies that he had, and I'm sure he's getting ready to jump on the plane and do another rally here. He's going to surprise us how early he does that. It isn't going to be at the end of his 14 days. But anyway, when they look at the stats from these rallies, they look at them and they say, oh, wow, 20% of these people were Democrats. So, hey, wow, 60% of these people that came to this rally didn't vote last time, didn't vote in 2018. I mean, that's the kind of stuff. Trump brings people out from everywhere. It really isn't a party thing with Trump. And so he's going to have new voters this time, and he's going to have voters that first-time voters that voted for him and elected him in 2016 are going to vote again. And so I think that's why a lot of people think he's going to be okay. So,
well, I hope he doesn't get on a plane and go out because I don't want him to have a relapse.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's nothing more important. I hope they've got to keep him in for a little while. Yeah. I think towards the end, I think he will get out there and do some more rallies. But he better, this is serious, of course. Yeah. Today he did an amazing presentation where he said, and I believe it's the second, it wasn't the REMS, and I'm a massacre these names, remdesivir.
Remdesivir,
but it was the Regeneron is the one that has not been FDA approved yet that he got on, and he said he's going to ramp it up and make it free for everybody.
Yeah.
And he said he feels great, which is actually something I've heard from a lot of people going on hydroxychloroquine.
Hydroxychloroquine.
That a lot of older people like their arthritis feels better and they feel better than ever. And that's what he's like. He's like, I feel better than ever. And they already instantly came out with some reports saying it can kind of be a little bit of an upper, kind of like a speeder there. And it's like he's just feeling elated from the drugs he's on. And it's like, I'll leave it to Trump. But no, I do agree with you. And I kind of have, I hope that happens, that a lot of these Democrats are registering as never voters before, because the thing I heard is the number one question that people get success with is asking people, what do you want out of your life?
Right.
And it stops people in their tracks and they say, hey, I want a job. I want a good economy. And that's the number one thing. And I think if we just keep asking that question of everybody, see, when they say about Trump, do you like Trump? It's not about Trump. What do you want out of your life? Right?
Yeah.
Want a job, he can fix this economy. He can bring stuff back, and he will. And, you know, we're going to keep the Senate. We're not going to lose the Senate. It's not even going to be cut. I mean, we might only have a 1-seat majority, but we're not going to lose the Senate.
Right.
We are not going to win the House, but we can win that back in 2022. Yeah. And the other thing is Trump on the inside, for some inside stuff now, the Presidential Personal Office, the PPO, was replaced in January by Johnny McEntee. You can go, he was the security guard. They booted out and they brought him back. They've brought in a lot of people and put them in the federal offices. Everybody needs to go look at what's happening with the FBI and the recent stuff that's being buried in the news, because that's really, it's very, very scary stuff.
Oh, yeah.
To think that our apolitical top law enforcement people are after individuals and actively campaigning. And you, Don Woolley, know it is illegal to coordinate with the campaign.
Yeah.
Don,
sure.
For anybody knew, Don was sued for that at one point. So you know how strict those laws are, right? But the FBI is doing it. I mean, you can't, as a federal employee, be coordinating, let alone all these federal agents. So I think there will be a lot of new people who. And what?
No, I was going to say, and actively, many of them actively working to undermine the President of the United States, all the way up to you know who, the big O, right? Yeah.
Yes, I guess they redacted stuff yesterday or the day before, which looks to me like Trump was sitting in there all alone without all these advisors and kind of maybe had some enlightenments, right? Mm-hmm. With, hey, what's really going on here? And I'm hoping a lot of the new people who are being registered really do. I mean, I know a lot of immigrants and legal immigrants. And they, you know, everybody wants a job. They've told me it's very simple to them, is that under Obama, they were working like 60 hours a week, right, and barely making it by. Mm-hmm. And now they're working like 35 hours. They're making more money than they made before. They're able to go and enjoy themselves and have fun and a life. And, you know, life is better when you make more money and work less. And you know, your 401ks are going up. And so maybe all these people that are registering will vote for Trump. So we just got to keep those ballots out of their hands.
Yeah. And we know a lot of these voters. I think I have a hard time believing that they see people burning down neighborhoods and cities and destroying things and breaking things. And I just can't imagine. And the Democrats not saying anything against those things, like Mark Kelly last night. I just can't imagine people would vote for those people. You know, if you're, and Biden won't commit to doing anything about it. He's, you know, I don't know if he knows what he's saying from day to day, but you know, and you notice he was really hopped up the other night against Trump, right? I don't know what they did to him, but they did something to him.
Did you hear two of the rallies before that? Trump said they're going to give him a shot in the ass and send him out there.
which is what they did.
He's right. He
Yeah.
wanted him to do a drug test.
Yeah.
I think you should make him do a drug test. Why not?
Of course, yeah. And that would be good.
Yeah, no, we can't. I mean, this is a referendum on communism or America, and we're going to have, and that's the other thing. Everybody just has to hold on. So, if you go read about the election in 1876, actually, there's a really good book by John. I'm looking at the author, John Barry, called "The Great Influenza." And the very beginning of the book, it talks about the election in 1876. So the militias were reforming. We still had reconstructor. What was it called?
Reconstruction.
Yeah. And they couldn't come to an agreement on the Electoral College.
Mm-hmm.
And I left out I used to give that a third syllable, and I left that out.
Yeah.
So the parties got together, and they had a special constitutional committee they formed, and they decided to throw out 3 states' electoral votes. And I think it was Florida, South Carolina, and Georgia. And I asked a historian friend of mine, what's a special constitutional committee? He goes, it sounds like they made it up as they went along. But as we know from 2016, remember in 2016, I didn't know what a delegate was. We didn't know. We almost had a runaway convention, right?
Yeah.
And we found at that time that we have a rules committee that appoints a convention rules committee. Yeah. And the Trump campaign did not realize that. The Cruz campaign got involved and got those people on that rules committee as Cruz people. So they get to set the rules for the committee. So I don't know the mechanism that happens in the Electoral College, but
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Zoom ended our conference call, and we only have 45 minutes with them, and they cut us off. So we apologize to Christine for that, but we will have her back on the show and talk some more about that. So I will contact her and let her know what happened, and we hope that you enjoyed that conversation. A lot of good, interesting stuff, and she's a pretty knowledgeable person and a real activist in Arizona, and always good to tap some of her ideas and knowledge and what's going on. So anyway, we thank you all for being here tonight. We'll try to be back on as soon as possible. Maybe Saturday night. We'll see what's going on in President Trump's schedule, and we're going to kind of work around that. So see if he begins to get out again and get to some of his rallies. So anyway, you all take care. We love you all. God bless you. Thanks for watching tonight, and we'll see you soon.